Morning. It is Tuesday morning. I guess today is the 10th. I'm just going to talk about hook grip and how I went about doing it, just to give you some reference for some of you that are interested in doing it. And saw Stephanie was pulling with a double overhand, and she was losing her grip, and that will typically happen. You get to that max weight, the hand wants to open up, and that's where the hook comes in, where that thumb locks over the bar, the bird finger and the pointer lock over that thumb. Now, I'm not going to lie to you, there is never a time, ever, that it's not probably going to hurt a little bit, and in some instances it will hurt a lot, and you'll learn over time to do what we call squeeze the cradle. A lot of people like ball that fist up as tight as they can, and what you'll learn is that tension on the bar, you'll learn to squeeze the cradle. And the difference is, when you squeeze the hand super tight, it's the little muscles in the hand that fatigue, and they're really small, so they fatigue quickly. When you learn to squeeze the cradle, you'll feel most of the pressure in the forearm, and obviously there's a lot more muscle there than there is in the hand. And so, but that takes time. Now, what I will tell you is, I used hook grip for Olympic weightlifting, so it wasn't a problem, when I was trying to do 250 pound snatches and, working my way up to the 300 pound clean and jerk. Now, I can't do that anymore. I just don't do enough Olympic weightlifting, but it never had an issue on pain or my grip strength. When I started dabbling with mixed grip, I think I had pulled 650 in that area, which is not a world beater by any stretch, but respectable. But as big as I am, and I wouldn't say that I have short arms, but considering what is surprising to some people, given the fact that I'm wide, is I'm also 6'2". I've probably shrunk a little bit due to my age and all the squatting that I've done, but when I was a much younger man, I was measured at 6'2". So again, which is not crazy tall, but is still tall. So for the length of my trunk, I have shorter legs and a longer trunk, and it seems to work well for squatting and works well for bench, not so much for deadlift. And what I would do pulling mixed grip is just the shear pressure. I would pull my hips out of alignment 3 or 4 times a year, and it was quite a process, to get it to settle down and to have to train around it. And so when I went to hook grip, what it allowed me to do is, when I was loaded in the pocket, I was a little taller. I was a little higher out of the pocket, and that seemed to really help with the hips. The fact that I was double overhand using a hook grip, but that my hands were equal, it actually loaded on my back and my hips much better, much cleaner, and I had a lot less issue. Now, it is not foolproof, but it has always in that time been better. So what I learned is that if I warmed up when I started out, doing a plate, doing 2 plates, doing 3 plates, by the time I got to 4 plates, my hands were really starting to hurt, and I wouldn't want to go any further with it, and I would switch back to mixed grip. So what I got away from doing for a while is doing all the warm up with the hook grip, or I would not do reps at the time with the hook grip. In those days, I did a deadlift routine where my first week was from the floor, my second week was from blocks, and usually it was 2x8 blocks, but it would vary some, but my alternating weeks were from the blocks. So what I would do is, when I got done with the block pulls, is I would put the bar on the floor and start pulling a single or two heavy. I was nice and warm, it was no big deal, I didn't need to warm up, for more pulls, and I got to the point where I was deadlifting I think before I ever used hook in a meet, again, my PR was 650. I want to say I pulled 635, 640. I don't recall specifically with the hook, and I felt really confident in it. So it was roughly 2005. I was at a meet, and in those days, I was lifting multiply. I'll get done with the squat and the bench, and we go to deadlift. I'd get in my deadlift suit, and I would pull 315. I was plenty warm from the meet. I'd pull 455 and then do my opener. I don't recall what I opened at that day. I have no idea. And I don't even remember what my second pull was. But I pulled 655 for a PR. And in warm-ups, I was with my son Wesley. I pulled both my warm-ups hook grip, and it felt amazing. And I was like, what do you think? And he's like, it's got you here. Let's just go with it. And I've never looked back. But I will tell you, tape, and I can go over taping, because you can tape too tight. It'll not only will it cut the circulation off to your thumb, it will make gripping that much worse. So you have to. There's a method, and that it seems elementary, and basically it is. But you will see, quickly how tape, not only can it work to your advantage, but it can also create some issues. And then keep chalk around at all times. I use liquid chalk frequently when I pull, and I will ring the thumb, the pointer, and the bird finger, and make sure it's nice and chalky. And that way you're getting friction, no matter where the surface is. So the thing about hook grip, for those of you that want to try it, is to be patient with it. Some people gravitate to it right away. You'll see several of the female lifters, Corey, Melissa, I'm trying to think, Jennifer, and that's only because she's tiny. She has pulled, I want to say 380 with a hook grip. She's 5 feet tall, and she's got really, really small hands, so it gets to the point where she just can't hold onto the bar. But I'm trying to think of who doesn't pull with a hook grip. From there, Ahmed, who won the NAPF meet about a month ago, is starting to convert to hook grip because it helps him with positioning. So one of the things that I suggest is, like, when you're finished with your deadlift routine, go to a power rack or whatever you have available to you. Set up 135 pounds to start with, and use the hook grip, and just all you want is enough distance where you can just lock the weight out. You don't have to pull any kind of distance. Just stand up with it and hold it for a 5 count. If that's no problem, hold it for a 10 count, and get your hands used to doing that. Also, Iron Mind has them, and they have the little bands that fit over your fingers. You can just put them in your car and do the retraction work. Because if you're squeezing all the time and you're not doing any retraction work, it's going to cause some issues. Now, don't panic. I mean, it's not, don't rush out. If you're trying to do double overhand and trying to do hook grip, don't panic. You can get just a big rubber band, even if it's, loose and very mild. Just a little bit of work, few sets of 10. You don't have to go ape shit or anything like that. Just get a little bit of that retraction work in, and that will help. So you're not always just squeezing. It's pretty tough on the hands. And that's basically how I started. So for you people that are interested in it, be patient. Hands are probably going to hurt a little bit. Put on a pair of latex gloves. Put your hands in cold ice water for a few minutes. That'll help with some of the inflammation, and you're going to be fine. It is definitely has been, for everybody that I've coached to using it, it has been to their advantage. And let's see, Amy, that started training with me back in January, February, we immediately changed her, and it helped her positioning. And we changed her from a conventional puller to a sumo puller. Same thing with Allie. We went from sumo to conventional. Deanna's pulling in gear, who is a conventional raw, but she's using gear and she's really responded well to Sumo in the suit. So you can see, we have a lot of people using it. And so give those a whirl. If you have any questions about it, just give me a shout, and best of luck.